Hi, I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. In February 2016, I published an article that wasn't very kind to non-traded or private real estate investment trusts. We call them REITs. Unlike the traded variety that can be sold immediately on a public exchange, non-traded REITs are just that. They're not traded. They have no public market if you want to liquidate the shares, making them much more illiquid. I contended that even though non-traded REITs had some theoretical benefits, the high fees and commissions, illiquidity, lack of transparency, lack of track record associated with them negate any advantage. They're just known for paying wonderful commissions to those that sell them. So my longstanding recommendation has been to stay with traded public REITs for your portfolio. Well, that article was picked up by Barron's, where it was read by Tom Morgan of JLL Income Property Trust. He emailed me and he agreed with me that most non-traded REITs did have all the negatives I listed. But he pointed out not everybody. Well, while I was pretty skeptical, I'm a fair and honest guy, so I decided to investigate further. My investigation over the past year did turn up a handful of non-traded REITs that don't pay commissions, have reasonable fees, have limited liquidity, offer transparency, and do have an existing portfolio of properties that offers an easily discernible track record. So this article is my acknowledgement and my mea culpa that not all non-traded REITs are equal. So first, why should you even care if real estate's in your portfolio in the first place? Well, the biggest reason is that it's the third largest asset class behind bonds and stocks, bonds being the largest. Of all that real estate, only 7% is owned by public REITs, meaning the remaining 93% is owned by others, which are typically publicly traded corporations like Exxon and Apple and firms like that, private partnerships, and private REITs and individuals. One of the strongest arguments for including a non-traded REIT in your portfolio is that it acts much more like directly owning real estate than a traded REIT. A traded REIT is more of a financial instrument. The big difference between non-traded and traded REITs is volatility. The traded REITs are even more volatile than stocks. Stocks have a standard deviation of about 16%, REITs 22%. Traded REITs have a potential annual volatility, like I said, that's just so much higher than even stocks, and 10 times higher than a non-traded REIT. A non-traded REIT has a volatility of around 2%, which is almost that of bonds, which are at 3%. So why the huge difference in non-traded and traded REITs? Well, they're the same asset class, right? Well, the answer is liquidity. With traded REITs, liquidity is both a major strength and an Achilles heel. Traded REITs are subject to public sentiment and the behavior of the markets, just like stocks. Their price is driven by behavior. And since they are liquid and can be bought and sold in a nanosecond, their price can swing wildly. In this regard, traded REITs act more like a stock investment than a real estate investment. Non-traded REITs, on the other hand, just like rental houses or office buildings owned directly by an investor, can't be traded or liquidated quickly. The price of a non-traded REIT is set by the value of the properties that are owned, the net asset value of what the fund owns, not public sentiment. That's a big deal. So this is why the share value of traded REITs dropped about 75% in 2008, 2009, while non-traded REITs dropped a third of that, about 25%, which is what actual real estate actually dropped during that period. The properties owned by traded REITs didn't decrease any more than non-traded REITs, but the wholesale panic in the public exchanges dropped their share value 3 times more than the decline in the actual value of the real estate. So, as with so many things in life, when it comes to real estate, we can't have our cake and eat it too. One factor that makes real estate such a stable investment is that it's inherently illiquid. You can't have both liquidity and low volatility. But you can have a non-traded REIT that has limited liquidity, a track record with reasonable fees and no commissions. However, you do have to look really hard and really close to find them. Thanks for listening.